Hi, this is Paul at School Bus Talk. At School Bus Talk, we talk about everything having to do with school buses to promote safety, to support learning. On this episode of Bus Talk, I'm going to discuss seat belts on school buses. So I'm here at the bus yard and we're going to go on board this old bus here that's not equipped with seat belts and talk about it a little bit. Okay, so this is bus number 5. It's an older school bus. It's a Bluebird diesel school bus. It was built in 1997. It's got over 280,000 miles on it. And it's a substitute bus or backup bus. It's not used that much anymore. But I'm kind of nostalgic for this old bus for a couple of reasons. Bus number 5 was the school bus that I trained on when I started my career driving school bus, and its sister bus, bus number 7, Lucky Bus 7. I drove bus 7 for about a year and a half, and it's similarly equipped as this bus. It's an older bus. It's got the low back seats and no air conditioning. The purpose of this video is really just to share my personal experience driving school bus in school buses that are equipped with seat belts and school buses that are not equipped with seat belts. Now, there's a lot of internet social media memes on school bus driver sites that have a lot of fear and loathing about seat belts on school buses. And recently in Ohio, in August 2023, there was a terrible school bus accident. A school bus overturned and an 11-year-old child was killed. And as a part of that, the Ohio governor established a blue ribbon commission to look at school bus safety. And there was a lot of discussion at that blue ribbon commission about seatbelts on school buses. And in fact, some information was presented that 81% of the school bus drivers were opposed to seatbelts on school buses. So the purpose of this video is not to argue about seatbelts on school buses. It's not to present any other information. It's really just about my experience as a school bus driver, having driven school buses with seatbelts and without seatbelts. At the end of the video, I'll let you know what my preference is. Let's talk a little bit about old bus number 5 a little bit. Yeah, old bus number 5 has the low back seats. It's got the big tall windows. There's no air conditioning on this school bus. So, in the summertime, the windows down is what gives ventilation to the bus. And then let's go up and look at what it looks like in the driver's compartment. I always love driving this bus because here we are looking at the interior mirror and the visibility is just fantastic. The seats are low so you can really see the students, and that's always been one of my favorite parts of this bus. And it's also kind of like driving your grandfather's old truck. And so when you get assigned to this bus infrequently, it's fun to take out and drive, and the kids do like riding around in it. One of the issues in these buses, though, older buses without seat belts, is that the way they're safe is if the children are properly seated, and that means their butts have to be in the seats, they have to be facing forward, their feet have to be in front of them. But there's a tendency, the kids get up, they stand up, they move around, they might get in the aisles, and if they're not properly seated, if you have to make an evasive maneuver or a hard braking or there's a crash, the bus isn't as safe. So we always use the catchphrase, cheeks in the seat, to remind the kids they have to sit with their butt cheeks in the seats. That was the catchphrase that I use when I drive this bus to remind the kids how to sit properly. So I drive school bus in California. In California, in the early 2000s, the state law was changed. And the law was changed. It said that any school bus manufactured after 2005 had to be equipped with the 3-point seat belts with the shoulder strap for the students on board the bus. Now, This bus number 5, was manufactured in 1997. It was before the mandate, so it's still legal to haul students on this school bus. Let's leave old number 5 here and go check out a bus that's equipped with seatbelts. Okay, so this is a Bluebird Type 1 school bus, conventional, equipped with the high seats with the seat belts just integrated directly into their design. And the thing about this bus is, from the driver's compartment, if you sit in the driver's compartment and look in the mirror, that's hard to see the children when they're back in the seats, especially the small kids. Eight states in the USA require that seatbelts be installed on school buses. There is additional work for the school bus driver during the pre-trip inspection. The school bus driver needs to make sure that the seat belts are properly rolled up and remove any knots or tangles. In addition, you need to make sure that the buckles are accessible. Many times the buckles get pushed down between the seats and are hard for the students to get. The seat belts are easy to use. They're just a 3-point seat belt, a lot like that are in the kids' family passenger vehicle. You can pull the seat belts over and buckle it and press the red button to unbuckle. I can show a kindergartner or a TK how to buckle their own seat belts, and they get it pretty quickly. So all the kids are able to do their own seat belts. The law in California says that there is no criminal responsibility for the school bus driver if a student passenger doesn't wear their seat belt. Yet there is civil responsibility, and the standard under the law is you have to show that you provide reasonable care. Now, I exercise that due diligence by starting early in the school year. I tell the kids to wear their seat belts. I do an announced seat belt check, which I say, there's going to be a seat belt check today, wear your seat belts. Then after that, I say, there's going to be a seat belt check in the next 5 days, and I make that announcement routinely. And then after that, I pretty much just do surprise or seat belt checks, and I do it infrequently. And what I use for enforcement, if the kids don't wear their seatbelts, then I make a note in my diary, and usually I give the kids, 3 chances, unless it's some really egregious violation. And then after 3 chances, then this is a written citation that goes home to their parents. And right here it says, not wearing seatbelt, vehicle code section 27315. So you write the kids up for not wearing their seatbelts. The advantage of the seatbelt is it does keep the kids in their seats, and there really isn't, any wiggle room. Either the kid has their seatbelt on or they don't. It's not like the school bus, old number 5, where, you have to have them sitting properly, and sometimes whether the kid is sitting properly or not is a subjective call. Well, in this case, either the kid's wearing their seatbelt or they're not, and not wearing their seatbelt is a violation. So the seatbelts do keep the kids in their seats and not standing or moving around while the bus is in motion. On social media, a lot of the comments that are negative towards seatbelts from school bus drivers have to do with evacuation. And yeah, evacuation of a school bus, thank God I've never had to do it. If you smell smoke on a school bus, you need to evacuate all your kids very quickly, get them off the bus. But in my experience, the kids know how to unbuckle very quickly, even the TK. And I don't think in an evacuation situation, getting the kids unbuckled is going to be a problem. Regardless, in an evacuation situation, I do carry a seatbelt cutter right here. And if I needed to extract a student that couldn't get out of their seatbelt, I have a seatbelt cutter. I also carry a Swiss Army knife in my go bag as a backup. The 2 catchphrases that I use when working with the kids regarding seatbelts is I use the catchphrase, click it or ticket. So they either have to wear their seatbelts or they get a seatbelt violation. Or the other one with the little kids, as I say, buckle up, thumbs up. So if the kids are in their seats and I can't see them, they have to put their thumb up like this and up above the seat so that I can see it as an indication that they're safely wearing their safety belt. Now, I've had situations of really hard stops, and the safety belts help a lot keeping the kids secure and from being thrown around in the coach of the bus. Again, I thank God that I've never had a serious bus crash with the passengers or the kids on board, and but I think that if there was a really serious accident or an overturn, that the seatbelts would act to keep the kids securely in their seats instead of maybe flopping or flying around inside the coach of the bus. So it comes down to the question, what do I prefer? A school bus without seatbelts or a school bus with seatbelts? And after my experience operating both types of buses, I come down to preferring the school bus with seatbelts, primarily because it keeps the kids in their seats secure, rather than in the school bus without seatbelts. They have a tendency to stand and move around in the coach while the bus is operating. Okay, that wraps up this episode of School Bus Talk. Remember, safety is essential.